Hey besties! I feel like out of everything I've ever done in my life, ever, is like getting out an entire camera and recording an entire video explaining what omegaverse is one of the most embarrassing, but my mom is asleep right now, which means that she's not going to accidentally hear me talk about, like, nodding and breeding kinks. So this is, I'm seizing my moment, and the memory card only has like 20 minutes worth of footage, so it's going to be fast, it's going to be quick, it's going to be unscripted, it's probably going to be unedited too, it's going to be unlisted on YouTube, so that only people I give the link to can see it. So I'm doing you a favor right now, because I can't like explain this all at once, and I don't want to do it in like a question and answer format, because you guys are going to ask stupid fucking questions. Anyway, it doesn't matter where the omegaverse came from, but if you want like a really easy explanation, it's that there were like fans of these TV shows, and none of the TV shows had good female characters, but these viewers had breeding kinks, so they needed a way to have their male ships have breeding kinks, and thus mpreg omegaverse, because you can't just do like normal mpreg with like no explanation. There needs to be lore. What am I doing? Anyway, so the omegaverse is like, well, it's an alternate universe, but it's pretty similar to our own, obviously. It's not that much different, except for they have these things called secondary genders or designations. It just depends on the fic you're reading. And so we have betas, which are biologically just like normal fucking people. And then we have alphas, who are biologically sort of equivalent to men in this scenario. They can impregnate people who are able to get pregnant. They're like naturally aggressive, and not all fics will go into the whole like what are they called, hormone thing. Like some of them will be like testosterone and like make up other words for it. Not all of them will, but if they do, it's like the alphas have so much testosterone, they're just fucking losing their minds from it. And so all alphas, regardless of whether or not they are male or female, have a penis in some way. So the male alphas obviously just have a normal penis. And then for female alphas, they either have like just a normal penis, or their clit will expand to become a penis when they are turned on. It's like getting a hard-on, but like very much grower and not shower. And both alphas and omegas, and then sometimes betas, will have a spot on their neck, like right here, which is called a mating gland. And so when an alpha bites an omega's mating gland, they've mated. But that's just biologically, they have a mating gland. You'll remember that. I'll talk about mating later. And next, we have omegas, which are the women, kind of. So all omegas, regardless of whether they are male or female, have a womb and are capable of getting pregnant. So female omegas just have like normal female biology, but male omegas have penises, and they have buttholes, and that's it. They don't have anything else. They don't have like a cooter down there. Like their butthole is also their vagina. So they pee out of their penis, and they can also come out of their penis, but they also have their butthole, which is self-lubricating like vagina. And so they poop out of it, and they also have babies out of it. Do they get their periods? Yeah, but they don't talk about it. None of the, like, all omegas get their periods, like a human female. And omegas have a mating gland on their neck, which an alpha would bite. And so in some fics, alphas have mating glands, and the omega bites them back, and sometimes they don't. Depends on the writer. Depends on, like, what the power dynamic of the ship is. And so, in addition to periods, omegas have this thing called heat, which animals get, humans don't get, which is basically a period of time where you're just, like, horny out of your mind. So, like, for me, like, a Tuesday, and they basically just, like, feel physical pain unless they are, like, actively having sex. And it's called a heat. well, I don't know why it's called heat, like, in real life, but in there they have, like, a fever, and they're really hot, and their skin's warm to the touch, and they're so sensitive, and they're so horny. And so in some fics, it's, like, a once-a-month thing, like a period, and then some of them it's, like, a couple of times a year. And when an omega is in heat, they smell different. You can tell that they're in heat. And then in some fics they have a thing called preheat, and then in some they don't. But preheat is like PMSing, I guess, but for your heat. And then alphas have ruts, which is like a heat, but for an alpha, where they're just horny. So horny. And they're in pain because they want to fuck so bad. Dick so hard. They want to knot something. Okay. Alphas have knots at their dick. So, when you have sex with an omega and the alpha nuts, the knot will expand inside the omega to keep them locked together so that the nut stays in the omega and the omega will get pregnant, because remember, this all comes back to the breeding kink. And so that's what an alpha rut is, that's what an omega heat is. Betas don't have any of that because they're normal people. And so the next big part of the omegaverse is scenting. So humans in the real world have like pheromones in certain scents or whatever, but they're not like super pronounced or anything. But in the omegaverse, totally different story. People each have their own like unique individual scent, and your pheromones are like going out there because they're like trying to find a mate or whatever, because remember, it's all about the mating, it's all about the breeding, it's all about the breeding kink. And so you're like sending out your pheromones, and so omegas have like sweet, fruity, like flowery smells, and alphas smell like Old Spice or something, musk. Some of them smell like coffee, sandalwood, like cologne or whatever. And then betas have like a very calming, soothing scent. So like if an alpha or an omega is really upset, like a beta can just be like, no, smell these pheromones, and like the other person will be like, oh cool, thanks, like you fixed it. And so if you're like compatible with somebody physically, they'll smell really good to you, and if you're not, they'll smell really fucking bad. And if somebody's in distress, you can smell it. If somebody's happy, you can smell it. If somebody's horny, you can smell it. So, and there's this thing called scenting, which is basically just when you like put your like face in their neck where the scent is the strongest. The scent is strongest in different parts of the body. On betas, it's just like the neck region, I think. Then on omegas, it's neck and like cooter womb area, and then on alphas, it's neck and something else, and I can't remember, and I'm not looking it up. But I think it's like just the dick area. And so like you smell them and it calms you down because it's like the person you love. And so when like people start to like be in a relationship or they're around each other all the time, they'll like their scents will mix. So you have that going for you. So like smell's really important. When omegas are upset, you see omegas, like women, are built to be homemakers only. And so when omega's upset, they build these like things called nests, which is, honestly, the way they're described, very shoddy, but it's basically you get a bunch of shit like blankets, towels, clothing, maybe like bed sheets, maybe cushions, pillows, and you like make a little fucking area out of them, and it like smells like things you like, the people you love. It smells like your alpha, and you feel safe and happy in the nest, which is so fun for them. And alphas want their omega to smell like them because they're like possessive, because they're alphas, and it's all about the breeding kink, and so they gotta know it's yours. You're the one nutting in that worm. I think Kevin might be able to hear me right now. Anyway, so moving further along, they have children like the usual way. Pregnancy is not really any different, other than it's like hornier than usual. So there are these medical things called suppressants, which are similar to birth control but not. So there's two kinds of suppressants. first there's scent suppressants, which are just like what they sound like. Scent suppressants, which are just what they sound like. They make you smell like if you're an alpha, you'll smell like a beta. If you're an omega, you'll smell like a beta, so that people can't like clock you. And so like typically in fan fiction, it's like an omega who pretends to be a beta, but then their suppressants wear off and they go into heat, and then the alpha realizes, oh my god, you're an omega and I have to help you, and they have sex. And then there's, like, heat or rut suppressants, which is, like, when people take birth control and they skip the sugar pill so they don't get their period. It's sort of like that. You just, like, don't go into heat, or you don't go into rut. And in some of them, it's, like, a normal thing, and then in some of them, suppressants are, like, so taboo. The fact that they're on suppressants is so crazy. And in some of them, there's, like, an after effect, like, when you come off suppressants, your heat will be stronger, or your rut will be stronger. But that's not in all of them. And so, like, socially, alphas are, like, the men, so they're, like, in charge. Alphas are the ones going off to war. They're the leaders in the government. They're the oppressor class. And betas are just, like, Betas are, like, boring. It's just, like, a normal human who's just, like, there. And then the omegas are, like, the homemaker, the nurturer. You have babies. Those are, like, your school teachers, nurses, and stuff. And so some of these fics go, like, really hard on the sexism allegory for ABO, and some of them do not acknowledge it at all because it's just porn, which is fine. Good for you. And so there's, like, in-universe slurs. Like, you can call an alpha a knothead, because they're only thinking what they're not. They're thinking about the next thing they can not, because they're breeders. And breeders is, like, a slur that betas will use against omegas and alphas in some of them. So much going on. And then there's, like, a thing is called non-traditional ABO dynamics. So the traditional ABO dynamics is obviously a dominant alpha and a submissive omega. But then there's, like, maybe a dominant omega and a submissive alpha, or it's, like, alpha on beta, beta on omega, omega on omega. Any variation that's not just dominant alpha and submissive omega, or, like, beta. I don't know what the betas are doing. I don't give a fuck, frankly. Let's see, is there anything else that you need to talk about? Because I think that covers all of it. There's obviously stuff that's, like, specific to each fic, that's, like, in-universe stuff. But that's not important, because you guys aren't reading ABO fic, as far as I know. If you want to, let me know, I'll send you the link. I'm kidding, I'm never gonna send you the link to an ABO fic, because I'm gonna fucking expose myself like that. Anyway, you're welcome for educating you. Gabby, I know you're probably the only one who's going to watch it this far, and I love you for that. You're the light of my life. Bye.